Last week, the governor of Anambra State, Charles Soludo, said the value of investments made by the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, while he was the governor of the state, was worth next to nothing. After criticism by different individuals on this recent statement, the governor stood by his words and further predicted that Mr. Obi will not win the 2023 presidential election, citing lack of political structure and poor voting strength of the Southeast, where the Labour Party candidate hails from. However, Peter Obi has responded to Soludo's statement, saying he did his best as governor of Anambra State and urged the incumbent governor to do his best also in the state as a professor of economics. Joining us on this show this morning as we discuss these latest comments by the Anambra State governor is Achike Chude, a public affairs analyst, and Nwokedi, president of Anambra State Indigenous Lawyers Forum and former acting Secretary General of the League of Anambra Professionals. Welcome to the morning show, gentlemen, Achike Chude and Nwokedi.
Thank you so much.
Well, Nwokedi, you are with us here in the studio. Let's start with you. I don't need to repeat the details. We all know the details, okay? Governor Soludo saying investments made by former Governor Peter Obi are worth next to nothing. And Soludo being attacked, Soludo writing an essay, History Beckons, and more or less standing by his statement that, look, Peter Obi cannot win, not even in the Southeast, and that he himself knows that he cannot win, and that there are other people who know that he cannot win. And he went ahead to advise Indigbo to negotiate with the two major candidates who are likely to win. And then there's been all kinds of backlash, with Peter Obi himself saying, well, he governed as a trader. He tried his best. This man is his brother, an intelligent man, a professor. Let him do his own. Let us see it. What's your take on all of this?
The statement, well, I have to start by saying that the governor has the right, as enshrined in our constitution, to speak his mind, to speak as a Nigerian citizen. And he bared his mind on what he has considered within his own views and his own opinion, his own assessment, to be the outcome of the elections that are not yet held. So the analysis he gave about the investments, I'm from Anambra State, we are all there when Peter Obi was the governor. I was actually in charge of young professionals, during his administration of League of Anambra Professionals, then LAP. We attended events, we witnessed everything that happened. Even when that investment was made, we are aware of it. And we appreciated that, we applauded it. And even when that factory was established at Onitsha, the producers of Hero and other drinks, it was a welcome development. We also applauded that move. And the investment that he made in some other places, we are aware. And we are aware that the governor was thinking about the future, not just the present. You don't just run a government in such a way that everything must end up with you. And while others were embezzling, he was investing. And while others were engulfed in several billions of money as debts they incurred for the states, Peter Obi was actually saving money and investing money and left without a single debt for Anambra State. Instead, he handed over money to the governor that succeeded him, Willie Obiano. So when you say that somebody made an investment that was worth next to nothing, we have seen people that have made investments. Even the Odua group by our river, Awolowo, that had investments in Odua and everything that happened later, nobody can say Awolowo did not do well because he formed Odua, invested money in so many companies then in the western region. And now some of those companies are no longer there. We look at the intention in law. We look at what somebody said to achieve. We look at the mission that person had while engaging in that act. Was Peter Obi actually having a mischievous or malicious intention by investing in Anambra State money? The answer is no. And for him to even encourage the foreign investor that, look, you are investing in a place that you will receive tremendous profit or dividend. Let the states become part of the investment, which also he did. So when the governor said, and Peter Obi was governor for almost 16 years ago, almost he finished his tenure how many years ago? A governor came up after him, and that governor would have nurtured investment, or that governor would have told us what happened during that investment. And even when the issue came up as whether there was money saved or money invested, I can remember vividly the League of Anambra professionals under Chief Obiano, a renowned chartered accountant that was the president then, had a meeting where we summoned both the former governor Obiano and Peter Obi to come and tell Andy Anambra what really transpired, whether there was money saved or money not saved, or investment or no investment. Peter Obi came with all the documents. Peter Obi honored that invitation. The former governor Obiano couldn't come. And that was how we now cautioned them that, look, we don't want this dance of dirty dance in the market square. Governor, if you have anything to indict the former governor, come and show us. I could remember that Peter Obi also went to so many media houses saying the same thing and then displaying documents to show that indeed there was money. So when the new governor Soludo took over the mantle of leadership, we expected him to move on. We had high hopes. A lot of us supported him because we believed that he would have taken the state to further heights, politically, democratically, in terms of performance, in terms of further indices of growth from where, especially where Peter Obi stopped. Because during the time of Obiano, even though he tried his best, but most of Anambra people were not so comfortable with his style of leadership. They were still yearning for that era of Peter Obi that was an integrated development from infrastructure to roads, to hospitals, to schools, and to almost all the facets of the economy of the state. We thought that Soludo is going to reenact that Peter Obi's style and then continue from that place to project Anambra to greater heights. But when he began to say all these things, knowing fully that we are in a political era and Peter Obi is running for an election, a presidential election, where his home base supposed to provide a support for him, especially when he has done well. We are not supporting him because he's from Anambra State. Someone like me, look, I'm not supporting because he's from my state. I'm supporting because I'm convinced that he performed. Because I knew what transpired on time of Mbadnuju. I knew what transpired during time of Nge. I know how he was struggling to cover the mess from former governor of Mbadnuju, started reaching old and everything he has done there until Peter Obi came in. Nge tried his best. But we knew areas that Nge covered. And when Peter Obi came in, he covered so many areas and began to position Anambra and laid a very formidable foundation for what Nge was doing then. And then from there, we began to witness good governance. We began to witness, he gave us peace of mind. Both in security, both in all, so now they call our chat boys that harass people up and down. People be saying, I'm not going to use any of this. I'm going to use police. I'm going to use official and constitutionally provided security, and not to begin to use stouts. He ran a government that made Anambra people to feel at home. So what the new Governor Soludo would have done is to improve on that and not to begin to lambast the investment that was made. Somebody made an investment. You are saying it's worth next to nothing. How much is the worth of the investment? How much is the current share value of the investment? Does that investment translate into creation of jobs in the state? That company that invested in that submiller that produces Hero, are they still in business? Did they create jobs for the Anambra, for Nigerians? Did they reduce poverty and other things? These are the burning issues that a reasonable person should interrogate, and not to tell us it was nothing. There was an investment, and that investment crystallized into an industry, crystallized into creation of jobs, crystallized into reducing poverty in the state, and crystallized into so many positive attributes. So these are the areas you have to tell us more. Then on the issue of not winning an election, it doesn't reside on anybody to determine whether somebody will win an election or not. And I believe, I'm so sorry to say, it's my governor. I know him, I know people around him. You are not the one that will determine whether somebody will win an election or not. Election has not been conducted. You don't know the mind of everybody. You don't read people's minds. You might use your old system or yardstick or criteria to measure the outcome of election based on what has been there. But the world is changing. We have seen several countries that people upturn what the status quo and introduce new era into elections in the world. Recently in Kenya, we saw that. In so many African countries, we have seen that. In so many European countries, we have seen that. And we are in the era of social media. When our governor was writing off social media, it was a shock to me. You can't keep on quoting Zig and Michael Abara, people that existed almost 60, 70 years ago. The yardsticks that we are present there, the parameters that we are present there, things that we are present there, we are no longer present now. Even the orientation, even the worldview, people are changing. In that time, it might be like politics of tribe versus tribe, region versus region, but are they still doing that now? People are coming out to decide what they want, irrespective of tribe or religion. People are getting access to information. People are getting access to news. People are getting access to what informs their decision of who to vote for in an election. It's no longer a time that one Oba, one Igwe, one Alhaji, or one Emir, or one traditional ruler will tell you must go here before you go there. It's no longer until we hit a gong and tell this is where we are. Until Wednesday comes to talk and speak Zig's language, or Awolowo speaks Awolowo's language, Ahmad Bello speaks Ahmad Bello's language, before somebody from those regions will vote. This is a new era. You can begin to tell us until when you align. What alliance do you want? Why must we align? People are looking for the best candidate, a credible candidate that will meet the needs of the moment. And you're telling them about alliance.
Okay, I would like to ask you this. Is there a comparison between those two people? Because I've read this over and over. God knows how many times I've read this article now, or this op-ed by the Governor, Charles Soludo. At first he reacted and said, oh, people say I'm jealous of Peter Obi. He laughed it off and said, hell no. But he went further in that same article to say, I know when and how it is appropriate to save. I built Nigeria's foreign reserve from 10 billion that I inherited to 63 billion, even after paying 12 billion to pay off Nigeria's external debt and going through unprecedented global financial crisis. And I still left behind $45 billion. Go and verify. Was that necessary?
That was actually the issue. Okay, he was trying to rubbish the savings made by Peter Obi.
But he said
citing that there was poverty, which I don't know, because I was trying to ask my colleagues when there was this increase in poverty in Anambra State, because I participated almost in everything in Anambra, all the events, Modora Community Center, the one at the hotels there, I always go. But I had more chances than now, almost so much engulfed in my practice. I was not asking them, when was this poverty in Anambra? How and where? But then you saved money. When he was saving that money as CBN governor, do we have everything I wanted in Nigeria? Is Nigeria the best country in the world? Have we grown up to the level of America? Are we the best economy in the world? Are we not having infrastructure deficit? If the government that Soludo served had actually provided unnecessary infrastructure in Nigeria, can Buhari still be building infrastructure? Can even the people contesting the election and be promising us infrastructure? Can Yar'Adua come up with infrastructure? The room for development can never be filled. And a good government, even a good manager of a company, must have a set out funds that you can use to target the doomsday. When the profit might not be at the higher level, that there must be a money you must set down. It will also give you confidence. Even me as an employer, I have monies I set down. What in the event I'm not able to meet money that will enable me to pay my workers, I can have that. I can resort to that pool of funds. That gives a stability to my office. It gives stability to that establishment or firm or a state. You can't just come into a state and say every money that accrued to the state, you finish the whole money and also borrow. When you borrow money, you begin to pay interest. That interest you are paying, that money is money that will also be part of your investment in the state, part of money you used to work. But now you are now saying that somebody did something wrong, there was no roof. I was wondering where there was no roof in schools in Anambra, because even my own town, Peter Obi shared buses to all the schools. Even there was a robbery that occurred in my town where people wanted to go and cut away laboratory equipment that Peter Obi bought when he was governor. Those people were caught. Even generators, they wanted, even in the villages. I'm not talking of two schools in the city like Onishoka, Newi, whatever. I'm talking in the villages. They were all equipped. He bought in the same buses and gave all of them. So I was wondering, the school that was without roof, and even his own time, he saw fear. He cannot tell us that the school was without roof. So when he said that, I was like, is it the same Anambra we are from or any other place? But I don't know what informed the governor's statement. But if somebody has saved money, you are condemning that somebody has saved money, and also you saved the same money when you have not finished all the problems you had in Nigeria. At that point in time, why saving? Every reasonable businessman, every reasonable entrepreneur, every reasonable management of personal resources ought to have money set aside for any day. So I don't see anything wrong in governor saving money. And he, not only that the governor saved money, he still performed. In the education sector, we know how where Anambra was when he was the governor. We know the level of male dropouts in the states. And all those things are no more. We know the level of roads. Yes, and he consulted some of the roads. He did well. Peter Obi also consulted many. I mean, I was like, if somebody is saving money and starving the states of resources and of infrastructure, you can come. Peter Obi built Anambra State Secretariat by Paul B company. The Anambra was operational when we are filling our forms and doing our jumbo whatever in Anambra. You go to Amansi and go to one ministry. You go to Amabia. You go to Agolo. You go to Oka. You go to different, because they scattered all the state secretariat all over the whole places. Peter Obi came and built Anambra Secretariat. We had a secretariat where you can come to one building and finish up everything. And so local governments were operating under rents. Like the local government, he built that secretariat along the express road. I don't understand. But I don't know. But for me, I believe that Governor Soludo had a good will. Me personally, I supported him when he was going for election. Because I go for best interest of the people. Not that he gave me anything or he mobilized me, but I did it on my own. Even Peter Obi now, I'm supporting because I believe for the best interest of the people. I always stand on the best interest of the people. And that is what we believe that will prevail.
Okay. I think substantially, some people can hold the view that Mr. Peter Obi has settled this matter. He said, look, that's the past. He is moving on. He's looking to the future.
Exactly.
Governor Soludo is the one who is now in Anambra. Yes. Let him do his own bit.
Exactly.
Right? But Soludo raised some other issues about the future. And what are some of those issues? He said, for example, that Peter Obi's campaign is dominated by those he refers to as the social media mob, who think they can bully people and play politics as if it is an exercise in tyranny. And yes, and that is not going to take Peter Obi anywhere, as the Labour Party must have seen in Osun and Ekiti elections. The second thing, he said Peter Obi does not have structures. That you can't win election in this country if you don't have structures. He even went further to say that he's not likely to even get 25% in the Southeast. That his best performance will probably be 25% in 4 states. Finally, he said Indigo should talk to the 2 major candidates. He didn't name them because he thinks that for Indigo in the next 4-8 years to achieve his interests, must try to engage those 2 major candidates who are likely to win. I don't know, who he has in mind. I'm not going to help him identify those 2 candidates. But that's what he said. But clearly, he doesn't think that Peter Obi is one of those 2 major candidates. What do you think?
For me, Soludo is still engrossed in tribal politics. That's actually where he's getting it wrong. He has not evolved. And I'm so sorry to say this, my governor, I respect him a lot. He's an intellectual, so I have to engage him intellectually too. He has not evolved. He's still evolving. But if he has evolved, he would have known that, look, that structure he's always referring to, it's no longer there. Peter Obi is not contesting the election as Ohaneze Ndigbo candidates. The bulk of the support coming to Peter Obi, they're not largely from Ndigbo. People that welcome Peter Obi in Bini are not Igbos. People that welcome him in Taraba are not Igbos. People that welcome him where he has gone to, they are not Igbos. Igbos are not the people there. Peter Obi is running an election for Nigerians. He's a candidate of election in Nigeria and not in the Igbo. And there this issue of alliances. That is where our problem lies. Whenever we want to go to election, we begin to form alliances, begin to share positions and share posts. We don't look at the credibility and competency of the people running an election. Even if somebody is not credible, for the fact this region says this is the person we are putting forward for this post because we are going to reconcile with this other region, put this person forward, they'll force Nigerians to accept that. But that is wrong. We have grown beyond that level of politics. We have gone to the level that every Nigerian is a stakeholder. You don't just narrow politics to regional consideration. It states that Indigo must go and talk to candidates and then come and ask them, what are you doing for us? What are you doing for us? Are they contesting elections like that in other civilized society? The answer is no. Nigeria must grow. And that is what people love about this current political dispensation now with Peter Obi as a presidential candidate. That something new is coming to Nigeria. There should be a shift from that old thinking and that old methodology and that old ways of doing things. So the governor of Anambra state my state should evolve and know that, look, we are no longer within that era. And again, calling on Ndibo to go and negotiate. Are you negotiating based on what you will get? Are you negotiating based on what Nigeria will get? If Nigeria says that, look, this is the person that want to be our president, why must a certain kind of people negotiate against the general interest of the people? Why must that happen? Okay, the candidates you are negotiating with, have you asked Nigerians whether those 2 candidates are their choices, whether they are people they want to see as their president come 2023? Or must you negotiate everybody into that box? That is actually wrong. So when I read all his articles, I said, look, my governor, with due respect, he's a very intelligent man, he's a very civilized man, but he should evolve. Everything he was talking about in that article was something that was like antiquated and anachronistic. They are not what is in the obtainable in the modern world. And he should know that the world is evolving. And Nigeria should also evolve. Why must Ndibo go and start doing that? It's Peter Obi on the top of Ndibo.
Okay, so let me share with you some opposition views, because this has generated a lot of reactions and counter reactions. People have been writing in the press as regards this. Sam Omasheye wrote something, and he said in his words, he talked about Soludo being a man of accountability. Sam Omasheye's words, not mine. And he also said, what of the investment of Anambra money in his family business and his offshore account, or the next supermarket bill while on the throne? That's what Sam Omasheye is also saying here. Is it politics, or what is it?
No, if the governor has come out clear, statistically, to tell us what actually transpired, we would have had a wider view, a wider approach towards the issue. But he came and spoke in parables. Do you understand my point now? If you have told us, look at the worth of the investment, look at what of this, look at this, we were able to like approach it from that dimension. But that wasn't said. So people have seen that, look, you said a lot of things and said nothing. So people are seeing it from angle of politics, some are seeing it from angle of distraction, some are seeing it from angle of
is there an ambition somewhere?
Some also saying that. Some also saying that, yes, maybe he's thinking that maybe Peter Obi's chances might definitely affect his own chances, that he's a star boy too. Peter Obi is a star boy. But he does have my point. Peter Obi was a governor, he's now a governor. He might, that's just speculation. That he might want to be the president of Igbo extraction everybody's yearning for, because everything about him is about Igbo extraction. But we have gone beyond that, even though Peter Obi is from the southeast. But then if he has an ambition, are you on the ballot box now? Are you picking? Are you holding any? Are you contesting? Are you a candidate? The answer is no. Even if you don't want to support Peter Obi, because you are father to all. You are the governor of Anambra. You are father to all of us. Peter Obi is from your state. If you have ambition, the calculation is not favorable to you, you bury it. He calls himself, they call him Charlie Wambaf. If you know the meaning of that, he's always, that Charlie Wambaf is a reference to the fact that he came from a poor background. That God helped him through his intelligence and everything to grow to the pedestal he has gone to in life. He's a very lucky fellow. Somebody that has a bigger background couldn't achieve what he has achieved. As a governor of Central Bank, given elected as governor of Anambra, I mean that level is okay for him to give glory to God. That God has pushed him from being one bafo, meaning that child of a local woman, to the level he is. So he should be proud of that. And if God enables him to grow beyond that, let God do it. You don't scuttle somebody's ambition because of your own. And he's a presidential material. Nobody is doubting that from Southeast too. But then calculations, Bible says that time and time happens to them all. Time and chance or whatever. So if time and chance did not happen to you, you know it is not your own. And more so, Peter Obi is from your state too. Must still be you, or must still be all of them. Must everybody from Southeast be Igbo president? And I heard some are saying that, okay, maybe they're promising. I asked them, last election under APC, so how many people did they promise president? They're promising a president from Southeast. They promised Obono president from Southeast. They promised Rochas president from Southeast. They moved Governor Sam Umahi out of PDP to APC to give him president. They promised Nwajoba minister for state president. All of them from Southeast. Who amongst them got it? So why would somebody promise you president and then you begin to scuttle begin to allegedly scuttle what is already on ground? It doesn't really make sense.
No one single citizen should promise anybody the position of the presidency of Nigeria.
Well, Nigerians will decide.
Nigerian people who will decide and choose whoever they want from whatever part of Nigeria. But I understand that Achike Chude is now with us. Achike Chude, can you hear us from the studio here on our Rise News channel? Is Achike Chude there? Okay, if he's not there, when he joins us, we would come back to him. Now, yesterday on this program, I brought up the issue of Ohaneze Worldwide. Ohaneze Worldwide is different from Ohaneze Indigo. Ohaneze Indigo is led by Professor George Obioso, but you have this Ohaneze Worldwide, I think led by Okechukwu Isisugo. Now, after all the usual statements, some of which you have made here about how Soludo is envious and all of that, the group now said they have reported Soludo to two major deities in Igbo land. Chokolese in Nimbise and Ubino Babish in Arochukwu. And I was saying on this program yesterday that this is ridiculous. What have the deities got to do with this? Can we focus on the issues? So tell us more about this Chokolese and Ubino Babi and how these deities have become major players in Nigerian politics.
It's not the first time.
Do those deities have PVCs?
Anyway, it's not the first time we are hearing deities in Nigerian politics. We'll still remember what happened in Okija Shrine that played a role in Nigerian politics. So bringing in deity to Nigerian politics is not the first time that is showing up in a political landscape, you know. But then I believe it was like an expression of disappointment and a kind of some unanticipated kind of vituperation from quarters they least expected such to come from. You know, when somebody is intensively irritated, there's likelihood that he might go beyond certain action or acts. So what they said for me, you know, they looked at, when you look at certain thing, there was a rich man in my place that said when you engage, if you're a poor man and you engage a big man on a fight, and you look at the big man, you cannot fight him in any way, in any manner, in any area. You can't go to court, he will defeat you, fight him physically, his boys will beat you up, go to wherever you go, he will finish. What do? You say you pray a prayer to God that let God take care of everything. That's the prayer of a poor man. May God take care of everything. So maybe the Affairs Analyst worldwide, they've looked at Soludo as a governor, they can't fight him, they can't mobilize money against him, they can't beat him up, they can't slap him on anywhere. They now decided to call on gods to fight, to take over the battle. And it might be the gods they believe in. You know, in Africa, we always feel so ashamed of our own gods, forgetting that these are the gods that sustained our forefathers till we embrace Christianity. I'm a Christian. I profess Christianity. I belong to Christ. But then these are the gods that kept our forefathers until we embrace Christianity. So some of them still have a strong belief in those gods. And if it works for them, and they believe it will work for them, and they know that they cannot do the governor anything, so they pray that prayer that rich man, you say you always tell a poor man to pray, to go and report it to God. Because if you go to court, the big man will win you. If you go to physical fight, his boys will beat you up. So you have to report it to God. So Affairs Analyst worldwide have decided to report the case to God, their own gods.
Okay. Do we have Achike Chude with us? Achike Chude, I'm sure you'll have been following the conversation. The article by the governor of Anambra State was titled Part 1. Should Mr. Soludo write a Part 2?
Yeah, well, he can do whatever he wants to do, obviously. He said that he wrote that piece contrary to the advice that was given to him by a lot of people. People that he respected, that they advised him to let sleeping dogs lie. And obviously he felt that he has the franchise, the democratic right to express his opinion, and he has expressed his opinion. So I do not have any problem with that. I think the only issue is the content of his article. How true are those? And but there's something also immatured about and unsettling about a person who enters into a private discussion with somebody he says is a friend and a brother, and then in the course of time, for whatever reason, he comes out in the public to air his opinions. And it's unbecoming, I think, and it is not matured, and it just gives the impression of somebody that cannot be trusted. It's not as if that there were serious imperatives that made that absolutely necessary. And I think the good thing really is that the man he wrote the whole article on had nothing, did not denigrate him in any way, did not embarrass him publicly in any way, did not speak ill of him. So he on his own decided, for whatever reason, a lot of people are saying that the reasons, whatever they are not in any way altruistic, decided to say a lot of things. And some of the things he said are contestable, really, if you ask me. And then after having come out to say all of the things that he said, he now says, well, there are other things that he didn't want to say for the purpose of is it expediency or whatever. But I would expect that he should go all the way. He has already started the process. Let him reveal it. There are so many things people have said about Peter Obi, positive things, good things about him. And he each time says, go and verify. He says he was not part of the pension scheme, the scandal that we are seeing across the entire many states in the country, where governments were giving themselves stupendous pensions and building houses, the state of using the state's resources to build houses for themselves. He says he did not inherit or take any property from Anambra State, whether land or building or whatever. So let us, Soludo also come up with all of those things, and then let's just see how true they are. So let him prove that Peter Obi is false. If he cannot prove that Peter Obi is false, then obviously he is the one that is false. He is the one that is pushing propaganda and misinformation and disinformation.
But John Nwokedi, I would like you to just assess the political landscape so far. What people say is that we seem to have 4 major frontrunners. The APC candidate, the PDP candidate, the NNPP candidate, and also the Labour Party candidate, not necessarily in order of importance. What do you see so far in terms of the process? Where do you think that the pendulum is swinging?
Contrary to what our governor has actually said, for me, because we interact with people, by virtue of my work, we relate with the high and mighty. And I also had the opportunity of belonging to 1 or 2 places.
You don't relate with ordinary people like us?
I say high and mighty, and even the low class. I say the low and the mighty, the low, the high for lawyer of the society. I talk to them. I have that flair for like when I buy sweets or whatever. I can just trek down the streets, these guys, and go and engage even people that polish shoes, all these things. Other people, a lot of people, I talk to people. For me, like you rightly stated, these people are in the contest. They are making their impasse. They have their advantages. They have their own deficits too. They have their own areas or certain places they believe they have their strongholds. And they have things going for them, and they have things going against them. But then bring them vis-a-vis the thoughts of the Nigerian people. It might be as if I'm trying to sound a kind of favorable to myself here, but I have to be very, very honest. The pulse of the Nigerian people, especially the educated. I was with my friend yesterday. He's a sheikh, he's an Umar. His name is Bakuma. He was telling me, look, Joe, for the elites, for the educated and enlightened people, the Labour Party is ahead of everybody, even in his place in the north. He said for the low people, the people that doesn't know how to read and write, people that don't know how to read and write in the north, he said they are going fatigue. Just have a point. He said for women, that the APC is trying to woo women. APC is trying to woo women. They are working more on women with this, whatever. He said, but on the general note, he said that if Labour Party will sustain the tempo of the election and able to talk to the grassroots, that is a clear win for them. That was when the governor said that. I looked at the parameter that he used to weigh these options. In PDP, for instance, their article is said to get PDP together. The 5 governors or the 5 aggrieved governors of PDP, they are yet to decide their working fatigue. Even recently, we said that he's not there. You imagine PDP without those governors and the future, what it holds for them in this coming election. Then you go to Kwankwanso, he's a good guy, he's a mobilizer, but that within the axis of Katsina and Kano and Kaduna. Then we take Kwankwanso down to other parts of Nigeria. How has he fared? Then take for APC, yes, they may have everything, as almost 23 governors and the members of the House and all other things going for them. But Nigerian masses are dissatisfied with what is obtainable at the moment, with high cost of living, with failure in everywhere, collapse in almost all the sectors. Even look at the ASILF that even resumed. You are finding it difficult to even pay them. So for me, I would say that Nigerians will finally decide. But from every indication, Peter Obi is leading. Now,
let me quickly break Achille as we wrap up. Still part of the article Mr. Soludo wrote, he said his words, Mr. Soludo's words, Governor Soludo, Professor Soludo's words, not mine. He said the current fleeting frenzy, if not checked, will cost Ndigbo dearly for years. The Southeast has the lowest number of votes of any region. What's your take on what he wrote? The current fleeting frenzy.
Yeah, well, I think what Soludo showed was an abysmal misunderstanding or lack of understanding of the dynamics of Nigeria's, the politics of this country. For instance, when he extols the political ability of certain people from certain regions in the country, he forgets about the end result, the end product of the involvement of these people in the politics of Nigeria. You look at their regions, it's in total chaos, absolute anarchy, lowest unemployment rate, highest out-of-school children, and so many other negative indices, insecurity, absolute insecurity in those parts of the world, even if you're talking about the Southwest, and that is not to exonerate any part of this country, whether Southeast, South, and the rest. So what has been the rest, the response really of a political leadership to the myriads of socioeconomic issues that we have had in this country? And besides, we are talking about the presidency of Nigeria. We are talking about the presidency of Nigeria. We are not talking about. Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Go ahead. I can hear you. We can hear you. Go ahead. Trust me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's about all we can take. I know you wanted to say more, but thank you.
Refer as supporters as mobs, because our professors and even myself as a lawyer support them.
Okay.
They can be a mob.
I'm happy you put that. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you.